Welcome back to the channel, Outriders. Today we have a starter Pyro build because it is exactly that. With the help of some friends, in about a day I was able to get through, put a build together, and solo T15s in the expeditions. And I'm feeling a little more confident. I'm far from a perfected build. I'm far from having even the mods that I'm looking for. But for those that are curious about how to put together a Pyro or still struggling to build, this video is for you. I'm going to have an updated video in the future as well as anomaly builds, so if you enjoy Outriders, subscribe so you do not miss any of those, and don't forget to tick that bell. So let's start with what I'm actually using. I'm going to go over here to the class. I'm using the all-top tree. I know some people are big fans of rolling down with an Incinerate and the Pompeii, but I don't think you really need that because we put on Ash on the gun itself, and again, with the combination of the skills, you don't really need this. I go through here, I work on a lot of weapon leech, damage, cooldown, so on and so forth. So if you follow the instructions on this tree and you go with these, you're going to be able to keep some good weapon damage. You're going to be able to keep up your weapon leech. Now, why I'm a fan of leech on this is because it helps with sustain. So the Pyro in general is going to take a lot more effort and more mods in general than something like the Techno to keep permanent uptime for Volcanic Rounds. And occasionally it will drop, even with an additional mag. As you perfect your build, that will no longer be the case. You're going to be able to keep it up permanently, and I'm still in process of doing that myself. But the weapon leech is the give and take for this build. You're going to be able to survive better. You can really play Pyro without any defensive mods whatsoever and still get runs down confidently if you have enough DPS and, of course, lifesteal. So there's that at your disposal. So there's a little bit of give and take. As for the skills I'm using, Volcanic Rounds obviously is what this whole thing's built around. It's solid for ad clear. I'm a big fan of it. It was a little weird to start with at the start, but it gets the job done for sure. Ash Blast is huge. If you ever feel like you're getting overwhelmed, you can root them in place, trap them, and of course do more and additional damage to them. And then Feed the Flames, which is not only a great source of getting your health back immediately if you're ever pushed too hard, but is also the way that you regenerate your ammo. So if you're feeling that you're putting too much ammo downrange, this is one of the ways to do them. Let's take a look at what I'm using. Now I choose one of two options depending on if I'm in solo or if I'm in group play, or however I'm feeling confident. The Lucky Jinx, any sort of LMG is a great place to start for beginning Pyros or people that are just trying to perfect their build, and it's because of the ammo capacity. So the Feed the Flames is what generates my ammo, and it gives me anywhere between 1/3, 2/3, or even all of my magazine back with one use. So having a gun with a large capacity means that's a lot of extra bullets, you know what I'm saying? So that's a great place to start. Do not be afraid to use LMGs or double guns on a Pyro. When you're feeling a bit more confident, I recommend the tactical submachine guns. These little things have burst. I love them. Now, as I said, because we're kind of skipping two of those mods, or two of those skill tree perks, I want to put Ultimate Ashen Bullets. Now, you can find this off of the Wicker. It's something that you can break down and you can buy actually from Tiago in the inventory and break that down, and that's going to be essential for this build. It's an absolute must because that's where you get some of that additional DPS. And I think this is something that's absolutely huge. I feel confident running this in solos or with my teammates, and I'm getting there at the point where I don't feel like I have to have perpetual mobile on it, which again is another huge thing and way to generate your ammo if you can do that. Of course, it's a little temperamental. Sometimes it doesn't activate. I don't know if it's a combination of, you being a Pyro and things dying via fire or what it is, but it is what it is. Now, as for the armor itself, I am looking for, ideally, firepower, cooldown, and some other form of either close range or long range damage. You can obviously stack up some firepower and close range on some of them, but you want to get your cooldown lower, and I want to explain why. Now, the reason for that is so that you can constantly spam Feed the Flames. I'm down to 9.5 seconds. I think you can get this as low as probably 8 or 7 seconds. Not to mention that if you do happen to drop Volcanic Rounds, that's not too big of a deal, not too big of a wait, honestly. But as you can tell, these perks are huge to me. These are ones that are essential DPS perks, and you find these right here, this exact combination, Sharp Eye and Bloodlust, on that legendary Sergio's Beret, and I have it rolled over to this. So that's one of my big DPS pieces to really help me clear a little bit more efficiently. Again, you're seeing some of the cooldown reduction start in there. Bullet Absorption is the start of the entirety of keeping up Volcanic Rounds. This one is a must-have mod. You replenish 33% of your ammo in your magazine for every enemy affected by the skill. I've also opted into Captain Hunter because they are probably the most difficult things to kill as a Pyro, in my opinion. Fortunately, if you happen to hit them with Ash or root them in place, you can get some solid damage. But some of the enemies, like the big dogs or the brood mothers, they are very difficult to manage, and that definitely is something that I prefer. Again, more cooldown reduction here. We have the skill is effective for 1 additional magazine. That's a buffer. It's not something you have to do, especially if you get great crowd control. I know guys with very optimized builds that completely ignore that and put on a defensive or another aggressive and offensive perk. And that's completely cool. That's one of those things you can afford to sacrifice at the end when you get better cooldown and you're confident with your build. Reforging bullets, again, is another one of those as you get stronger with your build that you do not need, but early on is a huge asset. You are using volcanic rounds, so anytime you're hitting crits, especially on bosses or things that you can root in place with Ash, you're getting your ammo back and you're sustaining that, which is wonderful. Again, Ashen Boost and Bullet Kindling work absolutely phenomenal together. 20% more damage against enemies afflicted by burn. I'm not converting that into Ash with that additional skill tree. That is great. Ashen Boost is amazing, by the way. You're going to be dealing that so much, and it's coming off your guns, and you're going to pretty much keep that with permanent damage as well. 20% more, that's going to be huge DPS for you. And then lastly, more cooldown reduction and firepower. So I have Wide Grip. This mod is an absolutely wonderful one. It enables the absorption of 1 additional target. So this is what takes me from just 33% of my mag, so 1/3 of my mag, to 2/3. I get 66% of my mag. There's another mod that comes off of a legendary pair of pants that I am still looking for that will allow me to hit 2 at once. So if you're factoring that up, that's an entire mag. I don't get just part of it back. I will get my whole mag back every 6, 7, 8 seconds when I'm at optimal cooldown. And that is going to be great. That's, again, where you start getting that comfort in, depending on your mag capacity, like on your SMG, 60 round, 80 round plus guns. You know, Feed the Flames are going to be great, and then you can go ahead and ignore things like Reforging Bullets, and you can start putting in more DPS mods in there, because Feed the Flames is going to be able to keep you up with near permanent uptime. And then lastly, Ash Cleaner. Now, this thing does great, and again, it scales with things like the Ashen Boost and other things. So it may look like 29,000 damage, but I've been taught and explained that this could realistically become something like 80 to 100,000 boost if you've got a right optimal build. And that is it, guys. This is where I recommend you to start. I can solo T15s in a day with the help of friends, and I think it's a great thing. So I'm going to post some gameplay for you guys to see. Not going to commentate over it, but you can see what it can do. And again, I will have an updated video of this when I do have all the mods that I'm looking for, all the roles, and all the upgrades that I need to show what this thing can be capable of at permanent in-game. So thanks again for all the love and support. Subscribe if you're new here. Leave a like, as it really helps the video get out there. And if you have any questions or any ways that you think you can improve on this build or possibly help me out, leave a comment. Let me know. Again, don't be afraid. If it works, we can help the community together.